What about now? We got sound now? You guys hear me? All right. Sorry I'm a little late, everybody. Had some technical difficulties going on. Something that was out of my control. Something that was pretty way out of my control. But yes, sir. Here we are nonetheless. Get this Tuesday Night Live kicking off. Gonna talk to you about a few things going on. Talk to you about a couple of the videos out there. Ask any of you out there if you got a chance to see me in that Nate Dogg interview. What do you guys think of that? Everybody get a chance to see that Nate Dogg interview? Yeah, I can. You know what? I could tell by watching that interview that me and Nate Dogg had going on. That I was in pain, man. You could tell that I was in pain. That was shit. That was almost right after the surgery. You can see the pain was written all over my face. That was the first thing that I pointed out when I left a comment on there. Yes, indeed. My mind's a little foggy right now. I had this technical difficulties going on here. My freaking power was out all the way up to just a few minutes ago. That's why my microphone was unplugged. I unplugged a lot of my shit right after the power went out. Come to find out, it wasn't nothing, no big deal. It was something that was just affecting this block. So I guess they got it resolved pretty quick, thank God, because it had been out for a minute, man. It was out for about a good 45 minutes or so. Excuse me. Yes, indeed. Got the screen turned so I can read your questions. Thanks, Star. The United Nations about ready to invade us. I think this country's got to become a little bit more destabilized before that happens. I don't think it's all the way destabilized yet. It's fucking getting there from what I understand, but I don't know, man. You don't see really anything bad going on here in Oklahoma. Well, one thing's for sure is I actually seen a Craigslist ad that said they were help wanted. They were looking for actors to hold up signs at a rally that's upcoming. And I don't know, it was weird, man. I heard about those things where they were paying people to protest, but never really believed it or knew if it was true until I actually had to see it myself. Pretty crazy. Anyways, I'm glad you guys can hear me now. Like I said, I unplugged this thing. I forgot I unplugged it. When my power went out, I unplugged a bunch of different shit. Manuel Lopez, a shout out to San Diego, California. San Diego Califas in the house. Much love to the county of SD and all the homies over there in the 619. Ron Jolly, the belly's fine. The belly's good now. It's been a whole week since I've had this surgery, so It seems to be still some pain and stuff in there, but nothing really too serious. Let's see. George Floyd lawyer filed for United Nations. Thanks, Star. Yeah, I will definitely look that up. It's pretty crazy. That's true. The United Nations comes through here, but it doesn't surprise me, man. People have been trying to globalize the U.S. for some time now, put it under United Nations control. Yeah, Sam, man, we could probably get some Call of Duty going tonight. Oh shit! Hold on 1 second. All right, sorry about that, man. This day has been full of all kinds of excitement. Fucking windy outside too. So this day's been filled with all kinds of excitement. All kinds of shit going on outside right now with these people that live around me. Anyways. So what's happening? Talk to me, people. Talk to me. This is more of more Q&A of a day than Friday. Friday we talk about all the videos and everything else. But today or Fridays when I can go on a rant. Today's more where I'll be focusing on all you guys' questions. And let me go ahead and look into this. Silos, you want to know if I'll be visiting LA anytime soon? Sometime around the end of the year, early the beginning of next year is when I plan on going out to LA. Hector Munoz, yeah, there's been a lot of weird shit going on. That's for sure. Did you guys hear about this shooting that happened in Albuquerque, New Mexico? Something over some statue. Some militia out there called the Civil Guard or something like that. Bunch of people rushed this guy and started beating him up with skateboards and all that. And the guy was laying on his back, pulled out a gun and shot one of them. But the way somebody said that they seen it, somebody that told me about it, somebody said they seen it and said the way the media reported it is like these dudes just started shooting at the crowd, man. But in reality, they actually jumped this dude. He was laying on his back. He's being jumped, and he shot one of them. You guys hear about that? Some Spaniard statue out there they're trying to tear down. Cynthia, please don't let me butcher your last name. Munguia, go ahead and send me that on Messenger. I'll read it about George Floyd, the actors. Christine Loera, how you doing? Doing pretty good. Feeling a lot better these days. Ron B says he doesn't do good at Call of Duty. AP, I think that everything that's going on is all according to plan. Definitely. The lockdown and the protesting, George Floyd. Like I said, man, if you look hard enough to try to find something, you'll find it. You'll find it. And I don't know, man. It's just a lot of weird shit going on. There's a lot of weird stuff. $14.88 pull up. Nah, my hemorrhoids ain't bothering me. I actually don't even got hemorrhoids. It was a good one, though. It was a good one. CDC survivor. Nah, man. I didn't go take a shit. Some issue was going on with my neighbors out there right now. But I didn't want no part of it. I told him that I was doing this live, man. I couldn't help him with what he was doing. It's been all kinds of excitement today, though. Steven Alvarez, you think that COVID was population control and everybody got smart and started isolating, so the George Floyd thing happened to get everyone outside again? Now look what's happening. Yeah, I heard. I haven't really heard if it's really blown up and more people have died. But then again, you know, last I heard that some cases started to climb back up. Broken robot, I heard that about North Korea. Jonathan Bacone, if the boot goes down more than it already is. As a veteran, I'd rather have former convicts than civilians. Your thoughts? Well, some of the formerly incarcerated, I would rather see dead personally. A lot of people that get out for child molestation and whatnot, I don't even think they should be out here. I don't even think they should be alive, to be perfectly honest with you. Oh, really? Arizona had a big spike? Steven Alvarez? It's crazy. CDC survivor. You've seen videos of blacks beating up whites. That's all part of the plan, man. Like I said, they're trying to kick that shit off. Phoenix, you're loving my poems with me and my mom. Thank you very much. Thank you for that $10 as well. Yeah, if you guys haven't got a chance, any of yous out there that haven't read me and my mother's book that's in Amazon right now, it's called Dear Mom, Dear Son, Separated by Bars, Not the Heart. Go check that book out. Jack Slew, you want to know what it'd be like to enter the state system as a sureño in another state outside of where you're from? Well, I guess that really depends on where you're going. But usually from what I heard on the inside in the feds, I asked a lot of homies that were from different states, whether it be Missouri, whether it be Wyoming, Colorado, Idaho, where you at, Utah, even right here in Oklahoma, you a sureño, you just roll right up and run with the homies. And it doesn't really matter where you're from as long as you know you a homie. I don't think you could just roll in there and just be any old dude just claiming that shit. But, you know, being a white homie, you probably in an outside system, if you don't have any tattoos that signifies that you a homie, you probably have to do a lot more of explaining or try to have somebody co-sign for you. Because, you know, being a sureño is not just a car that you could just roll right in and just decide you're going to run with, especially when it's outside of your race. You know, coming from another state and all that, you got to have some kind of, like me. I mean, I got it blasted on me. So anytime I show up somewhere, they automatically right off the rip, they know that I'm a homie. Thank you, Bruno. I appreciate that compliment. That I look like the rich, handsome, funny uncle we all know without the money, looks, or jokes. That's a good one, bro. They were trying to tear down a statue of a conquistador over there in Albuquerque, right, Jesse G? The Civil Patrol. So the Civil Patrol really fire at them, Jesse G, or was somebody defending themselves when they attacked his ass? John Ribner. That's true, man. It could have been a large programming thing. Keep us all at home. Keep us all focused on the media so that we can all see George Floyd. Look at how fast that whole George Floyd thing blew up. And that shit blew up pretty fast, man. Literally, like within hours after it happened, it was fucking international news. Hours after it happened. I mean, the whole thing with Rodney King, man, that was like days, I think maybe a week before it finally got out into the news. And just like most of these other cases, the same thing. But the fact that most everybody was sheltering in place and at home watching more TV than usual, they throw up this whole George Floyd thing and they pushed it out there tough. But I'm hearing a lot of bad, weird stuff surrounding this whole George Floyd thing, to be honest with you. Stuff that I just can't understand. But I did get a chance to read an article regarding the whole George Floyd case. Somebody who's pretty hardcore progressive, a researcher, put out a thing saying that he believes that Derek Chauvin is probably going to get off from that murder because That whole sitting on the neck thing is a standard procedure for the Minneapolis Police Department if somebody's experiencing a certain kind of a delirium like psychosis state, like going into some kind of a like a nervous breakdown type of a thing, like a delirium or some shit. Well, they were trying to say that that's what George Floyd was experiencing. Plus, he was having some pulmonary issues and shit to where he freaked out. So the protocol is to hold him down until the paramedics get here. Is what the Minneapolis Police Department is one of their policies to do. I forget what it's called, man. I have to look it up again. I sent Sandman the article. If he read it, he could probably remember. As a matter of fact, I'll look it up. I'll tell you right now what it said. I'll tell you right now what it said. Saying that George Floyd was experiencing excited delirium syndrome, which the Minneapolis Police Department has deemed to be like an extreme threat to both the officers and the suspect. And they're supposed to hold the person down on their stomach in a prone position and restrain them until the paramedics get there, is the policy of the Minneapolis Police Department. And that's exactly what they're saying they're doing. They're saying that, according to the video, if you look, like George Floyd was moving his neck and was talking. So they said there's no way that Derek Chauvin's knee actually had killed him. Now, this is all according to this article, not my words. So don't throw me into that rotation of getting mad, thinking that I'm taking the cop's side. I'm just telling you what people are now starting to write about, saying that it was wrong what happened to him, but at the same time, it was probably pretty much standard procedure. And they'll probably get found guilty of manslaughter, but they're probably not going to get hit with no murder charges. So that's people that are actually following this shit, and they're starting to scratch their head at the whole thing. James, you're saying that George Floyd died 3 years ago? I've heard that one as well. CDC survivor, knee to the neck and full body press, yeah. Aaron, what do you think about the black guys they found hanging over there in California? Was it suicide or was it set up? Some kind of serial killer or something? Who knows about that situation, but I'm pretty sure they're investigating that pretty hard, along with the FBI's involved in all that. I'm pretty sure we'll find out real soon what really happened with those hangings. We will be finding out real soon. All right. Yes, indeed. What do you guys think of this Atlanta? What do you guys think about this guy that got killed in Atlanta? Anybody have any thoughts about that guy? What was his name? What was that guy's name in Atlanta? Fucking Rayshard Brooks. What's up, Wino? So good of you to join us. Or have you been here this whole time? Yeah, Lady Pink, Rayshard Brooks. What do you guys think about that case, man? Do you think the protesters are blowing that one up out of proportion? Do you guys even know any of the aspects of that case? You know, the whole thing with the Rayshard Brooks case, what you guys probably don't know is he was in prison for beating the shit out of his children. Abandonment, child abuse, what else? He had some real fucking winner charges, I gotta tell you. Physical neglect, child endangerment. They gave him 7 years for that. They let him out because of COVID. So what did he do? He got in his car drunk as fuck and drove down to this, what was it, a Wendy's? And that's when he was raising hell down there, and then that's when they pulled him over, and he started fighting with them and grabbed one of their tasers, took off running, did all that shit. So they shot him. Should they have shot him? I mean, I don't think they should have shot him, but you know, one thing about a lot of these situations, like I was telling you guys in my police brutality video, or the one that I had where I fucking, now look at it like this. I was in a stolen car. I took off running. A cop fucking got behind me, tackled me, and I fought this cop, man. I was putting him on him. I was punching him in his ribs, punching him all up in his neck and his face and everything like that. He thought I took his gun from him, and he went into straight panic mode right then and there. Right when he thought that I took his gun, he went into straight panic mode. And when I heard him yelling that I took his gun, I went into fucking straight panic mode, because at that point in time, I thought that he was setting me up to get murdered. So I took off running. I'm like, fuck this shit, because you know he's saying I took his gun. He's probably gonna throw me to the ground, get up, move out of the way while they all shoot me. I mean, that's common. That was common practice back in those days. So I took off running like if my life depended on it, because to be honest with you, I honestly believed that my life depended on it. I believed that these cops were going to kill me. You know, he took my gun. That's classic. You're going to die. You're going to die. The cops are going to kill you if they think that you took one of their weapons, but it didn't happen, man. I took off and I came back around, and I got to tell you, that was one of the moments, more so than any other time, from any rival neighborhood, anybody banging, anybody shooting at me. At any other time in my life, I felt more like I was going to die at the hands of the police than anybody that was gangbanging on the streets at that moment. I seriously thought the police were going to kill me because they thought I took this dude's gun. I honestly believed that I was going to die when I was laying there. And that's real shit right there, because, man, you take a cop's gun, you take his weapon in any way, shape, or form, they're going to kill you. You know, it's a given. But a lot of people would try to tell me, you know, I've told that story before, and people are like, oh, it's because you're white. Well, on that night, they thought that I was male Hispanic, is what the description was. And there was even one officer that thought that I could have been light-skinned African American, the way I was dressed and everything like that, with the beanie on and all that shit. So they didn't know that I was, what my skin color was. They thought I was two different ethnicities. So if they'd have killed me, you know, it would, because of racism, then I should have gotten that bullet, because they seriously thought I disarmed that officer. But luckily for me, I had a bunch of cops that weren't the killing type to start off and surround me, because there was about 4 of them. And obviously they weren't the killer type of cops, because if they were, I don't think I'd be here talking to you right now. They would have killed me that night. That's real shit. Because a lot of cops back in them days, they were killing people, man. Like I said, it was shoot first, ask questions later. Punisher, thank you for the $5. There is nothing more terrifying than realizing a man arresting you is a criminal in costume. Gives me the chills. Yeah. Yeah. You know what? Hey, honestly, I'm going to tell you this. This is real talk. I know a police officer. I know a guy who works for the police department right here in Oklahoma City. And I've had a chance to talk to him about a lot of shit that he experienced, man. And he used to tell me, one of the main things he told me is he said that himself personally, he says, every time you pull somebody over, the first thought that comes to your mind is you're probably going to die. So what I try to tell people is, not to take their side, but we think we're going to die every night. Every time we go out into the night and we're banging, we're all running in the mix. We think we're going to die. They think they're going to die too. Because let's be real about this, man. A lot of people shoot at cops and a lot of people shoot cops. This police officer that I told you about, he had like a female partner. And she just pulled somebody over in a routine stop. This dude pulled out a gun and fucking shot her right in the face. Shot her right square in the face, man. She went to the ground. She was bleeding. Like, just blood was like pouring out of her face. And they chased this dude down. And when they got him around the corner, they beat him up pretty good. But you got to look at it like this, man. This dude just shot one of their homies. It would be like me. If somebody shot one of my homies and I chased him around the corner, we're going to beat him or we're going to kill him. It's the way it is. I mean, people got to look at it as that these people are flesh and blood. They're human beings too. It just so happens that we're a badge, and they're susceptible to getting corrupted by the streets and getting desensitized and all that shit, just like we are. The one thing that I could say about police is that they get to see all the worst of society, the shit that we don't see. You got to think that police are first responders every time some kid is violently raped or sexually abused or sodomized. They got to be the first one on the scene to see that kid in that state. They're the first one to see when somebody kills their whole family. Dead bodies of children, all this shit that these people see, man. You got to imagine that probably does a lot to fuck up their mind, And I'll be the first one to tell you that I don't live in a fantasy land where a lot of these social justice type of people think that the world is just all great and everybody's good and that all lives matter and all that shit like that, because it's not true, man. There's a lot of very nasty, vicious, disgusting people that are sharing fucking breath with you and me. A lot of horrible people, a lot of really disgusting, nasty, despicable people that are sharing the air that we breathe with me and you. And a lot of these people don't deserve to live. So I don't really think that their lives matter. So I could never say that all lives matter. And as far as like Black Lives Matter, and I understand the movement, and I understand the push to, convince other people to understand that their lives matter too, that they're not here to be racially profiled or to experience injustice or anything like that. I 100% get it, but the one thing that I believe should happen with the African American community in this country as a whole is they have to be able to all come together in a collective. The whole entire community, all 13% of the population needs to come together and figure out where they go from here and work on a whole lot more problems than just dealing with the police. There's a lot of shit that they need to work on together. And I think, honestly, and I've told Sandman this before, and I've told Wino this before, I might have even told Kenneth this before, I believe that white liberals or white progressives do a lot to prevent African Americans in this country from achieving a higher level of prosperity and happiness and well-being, because they tend to get in the way and cause a lot of problems. I think, it's like Malcolm X said, that white liberals do the African American community more harm than good. And I'd be inclined to believe a lot of what Malcolm X is saying about that, because he has more experience with seeing all sides of it. So there's a lot that needs to happen, that's for sure. Joey Jojo Jr. Shabado says, JD, you're not Mexican. That country sucks donkey dick. Anyways, why not pretend you're Chinese? Well, for your information, Joey, my mother was actually Mexican. Not full-blooded, but she has Mexican blood in her. I got damn near close to 20% of Hispanic blood or Native American blood, whatever you want to call it, in my DNA. Northern Native Hispanic or Northern Native or Indigenous Native American, about it's like what 14-15%, and the rest of it is like Spaniard, Portuguese type Hispanic. So that's like Mexican, since my great grandfather was from Mexico, and my great grandmother was also from Mexico on my grandfather's side, which makes me about like a quarter, almost 25%. CDC survivor, I completely 100% understand what you're saying. You do not want to be victimized by people. And I don't want you to be victimized by people. You know, a lot of people tend to throw a lot of labels at me, CDC survivor, like to call me a bigot or a racist or something like that. Dude, I'm far, far, far away from being racist, man. I'll tell you right now, you know what? You want to know what racism to me means? Racism means that I have to have some kind of emotional investment in hating somebody. I don't have any kind of emotional investment in anybody, to be honest with you, let alone I don't have any kind of emotions invested in hating somebody. Because to me, to hate somebody because their optical skin color, and that's what I call it skin optics, because their skin optics is of a darker color than me. It's just kind of like stupid and foolish for me to want to hate somebody just because of the shell. I choose to dislike people for what's inside of the skin, not for the skin color itself. I think way too many people focus on optics as it is. CDC survivor, and if you know anything about me at all, you will already know that I talk a lot about this optical illusion. If you've heard me say it before, the optical illusion, I beat that into the ground. Optical illusion, optical illusion, optical illusion. Why do I talk about this optical illusion? Race and skin color is all part of the optical illusion. The same way that people fawn and swoon over somebody like Wes Watson because he's a buff dude with all these tattoos. They think he's like the symbol of what it means to be a convict and a real killer and a tough guy. To me, I don't see that. I see what's actually inside of him, and I see a scared little man who's got low self-esteem. That's just me personally. I don't dislike the guy, but I don't really care for him, because I really don't care for phony people. So for me to sit there and single out a whole race of people because of the color of their skin and say I don't like them because of the color of their skin, it's just, to me, that's very weak. And for somebody that has an IQ that I have, and I like to pride myself on my IQ because it's real shit. I got a high IQ. I mean, I do. And anybody that has a high IQ doesn't really think about racism, whether it's directed at me, whether it's directed at other people around me, because we like to see people for people, and we know, logically speaking, that there's a lot of trashy fucking people in all races. So if I'm seeing bad people in all races, then that leads me to believe that really clinging to some kind of a racial philosophy of hatred towards other people is really like, it's futile to be that way, because you can't really judge an entire race of people because they have they have a certain color of skin, and be that person as the defining of the whole entire race. It to me, it don't make any kind of sense. Like I said, man, I got people in my family of all skin colors, and I love them all the same. I love them all like they're my family. I don't hold any judgments against people because of the color of the skin in any way, shape, or form. I don't subscribe to any of the stereotypes. I don't subscribe to any of the profiling or anything that has to do with characterizing somebody based upon their skin. I just don't do it, man. I think it's ignorant, to be honest with you. But I understand that there's a lot of people that do that. I understand there's a lot of people that are racist. Now, there's a lot of people that do treat black people, African American people in this country quite fucking poorly. I recognize that, and I know that. Believe me, I recognize it and I see it. I know it. It happens. I know. I see it. You know, there's not really much I can do about it, but I can recognize it, and I could support people that want to like try to fix it and make their living situation better by trying to change a lot of this. I think the way people are going at it is wrong. I think that there is a much better way to solve a lot of these problems. But who am I to say? If somebody asks me for advice on how they can make it better, I'll give it to them. But until that time, I'm just another fucking white person trying to tell African Americans how to solve their problems. And I don't really think people of color, African Americans, want me to tell them how to solve their problems. Just saying. You know, I don't think that they do. Does that make sense to you, CDC survivor? You got any feedback for me on what I just said? Now that we cleared it up that I'm not a bigot or I'm not a racist like a lot of people keep thinking I am. I just like to touch on shit that nobody else will touch on. I like to give everything and throw everything out there as far as information is concerned. I do it, and I know that I'm going to be looked at as a bad guy, but somebody's got to be that guy. Nobody else is doing it. Everybody else is just telling you what you want to hear. You know, and to me, that's not genuine at all. When I sit here and I see some of these other channels getting on here crying about some kind of privilege or trying to explain away or white-splain, I call it. You know how you hear women say mansplaining? You know what I call white people that try to like speak up on racism? I call it white-splaining. White-splaining. They're white-splaining to you everything. Talking about privilege and all this other shit as if they speak for every person that looks like me. It just really gets to me when I see white people talking about, oh, God, I got white privilege. It's like speak for yourself. You know what I'm saying? Speak for yourself, because you don't speak for me. Because I have yet to receive any kind of reward or benefit for being my skin color. Now, that's just my experience. That's my experience saying that. I haven't received any reward whatsoever for being the color that I am. Haven't gotten any reward for it at all. So when I get a lot of these white people that are white-splaining everything and speaking on behalf of the entire fucking European American population in this country, I just find it to be disingenuous. I find it to be opportunism at its worst. People are trying to come up off of the situation, off of the issue, trying to make themselves relevant in some way, shape, or form. And it just boils my blood, because you're attempting to speak for an entire population that doesn't have access to a lot of the same opportunities and privileges that you might have had access to. So you can't speak for the whole fucking group and say that we all have this privilege, because a lot of us don't have any kind of privilege. Period. You know, privilege is according to the amount of successes and things that you've experienced in your life. If I've been beaten by the cops, if I've been railroaded by the justice system, if I've been denied jobs, if I got to struggle to make ends meet day in and day out, that would lead you to believe that I really don't have a whole lot of privilege. I mean, any logical person would see it that way. I hope that other people, some of yous out there, see it the same way, because nobody has ever given me shit because of the color of my skin. I've never been giving it to it like that. I'll just keep it 100% honest, man. And if I did have some people coming at me, giving me something based upon my skin color, I would be the first one to admit it, because you already know I don't hold nothing back, and I'm honest, and I hold myself accountable when I'm wrong. So I would definitely hold myself accountable if I experienced any kind of privilege in this life, of which I have not. I haven't gotten any benefit from my skin color outside of the fact of getting a bad sunburn when I'm out in the sun too long. That's the only benefit that I can remember from getting from my skin color, to be quite honest with you. A bad sunburn in the middle of the fucking desert or sitting on a boat going fishing. Yes, that's the benefit of having this skin that I got. It gets burnt quite easy. And if you consider that a blessing, well, I can guarantee you, man, when you're trying to lay down with a sunburn at night, it's not a fucking blessing at all. JD Cox gave black people as many days off as they need, and I was at every protest locally and can't take one. Yeah, bummer, bro. I feel you. But you know what the protest is about? It is about Black Lives Matter. It is about black suffrage. You know, it is a protest to try to, you know, state a point. You know, most of the people that are doing the protests that are involved are doing it for a legitimate reason and a genuine purpose. Yes, there's a lot of people that are scamming it, though. I get that. You know, there's all kinds of stuff wrong with everything, man. Anybody else want to talk about their white sunburn privilege? I'm pretty sure there's a few of you other pale skins out there that get quite burnt in the sun as well. Wino, who wants a wrench? Wino, who wants a wrench? The 28th Amendment, Princess Hannah. That's where the 28th Amendment is they're talking about removing the president from office. Because you got to understand that all this shit is going on because of Donald Trump. I hope you guys understand that. And I'm not saying it because I'm a Trump supporter or anything. I'm saying that everything that's going on is because the government don't like Trump, bottom line. So they've created this whole mess in order to get rid of him, get him out of office, because they know that the silent majority is a huge factor right now. There's a lot of people saying they're not going to vote for Trump, but really they're going to vote for Trump. Yeah, Stephen Alvarez, you right, man. You right. I ain't white, my brother. But I just like to use that for semantics' sake. Stephen Alvarez, are you the one that wants the wrench? Your wish is my command. You're now a moderator. Peace be with you. Go with God. Let me go ahead and knight you. In the name of St. George and St. Michael and St. Michael and St. George and King Arthur and St. Merlin, now I make you a moderator. CDC survivor, yeah, you see my baby jump up on my shoulders? She just had to jump up on my shoulders to tell you guys orange cats matter. See my little orange cat, she knows what it means to be in the minority. She's a female orange tabby, and there's not many of them. Very few orange cats actually turn out to be tabbies, orange tabbies. A ginger tabby is what they're called. So she's a ginger. She's a redhead. She's an Irish kitty. Right, cat? She's eating her food right now. Tabby cats matter. Brandon, are you allergic to lowercase letters? Sandman wants to know. Aaron, I checked my cat's paperwork, man. Her paperwork's clean. We don't need to check your paperwork, Steven Alvarez. We know you're good. I'm a pretty good judge of character, man. Steven, I like to see qualities in people that are like inside of people as opposed to being outside. You know, that's why I get along so well with K-Frog. You know, a lot of people have a lot of bad things to say about K-Frog, but I'm constantly hearing bad shit, but I haven't seen. It's kind of like the boy who cries wolf. Somebody tried to manufacture bogus paperwork on K-Frog and come to find out that it was not true. So now anytime somebody comes out with that bullshit, I'm like almost in the way of not really believing anything unless I see it fucking coming straight out of a police department. And even then I might not believe it. I'll tell my friend I'm on live right now. Somebody's calling me. Yes, indeed. Steven Alvarez, yeah, hey, get at me on Instagram, bro. I'll get you on. We could talk about Tent City. I've been looking to talk to somebody about fucking, what's his name? Fucking Joe Apiro or something like that. Joe an A-hole or whatever. The guy with the fucking pink underwear and pink shirts living in tents. Yeah, I'll bring you on, bro. And where's old Body Young? Is Body Young on here with us tonight? I'm gonna look. Let me find out. Raw 323, you want some more ghost stories? Really? There you go, Ryan Taylor. Arpaio. Sheriff Joe Arpaio. Real piece of shit. Mr. Pistol Blaster, what do I think about people claiming Sureño outside of California? Hey, more power to them. You know why that is, right? Anytime you see a Sureño neighborhood outside of California, it's because somebody at some point in time moved out of California and started it up out there. For the most part, that's how it spread. You got Norteños that are outside of California as well. I've seen, like, I've actually bumped into Norteños that are out there in Texas. Believe it or not, there's a whole bunch of Norteños that are living in the city of Lubbock, Texas. I bumped into them out there one night. Didn't really have an issue with them or anything, but it was just kind of like, it was a trip to see him out there, you know? Yeah, Hand Cannon, you're right. There are Norteños in New Mexico. There's Norteños right here in Oklahoma. Yeah, they got their peeps way up out there too. The Punisher XL, can I tell your PO you were on the live stream last Friday? Absolutely, man, because I know you were here. I answered a couple of your super chat questions last week. So yeah, I'll vouch for you. I think I probably even mentioned your name in the live, and it's on there, it's recorded. Pancho Villa, you grew up with a Norteño that moved from Fresno to LA County. I've actually seen a couple of I seen a Fresno Bulldog and I seen a Norteño in the Orange County jail one time after it was at the same time that they put me on total sep for beating up a trustee. And down here in this one pod the mod was the only section that wasn't PC. It was just for people that were on total separation, ad segs, red banders, shit like that. And since this Bulldog and this Norteño, two different cases, they weren't related on cases, were busted down there, that they put them in total separation because they weren't technically PC'd, and they refused to PC up. What's up, sports fan? Well, everyone, it's been real. It's been fun. It's been entertaining. It's been educational. It's been all those things for this Tuesday night. But we are now at the top of the hour of the show. So I'm going to go ahead and slide up out of here. But you will be seeing me again on Friday. It'll definitely be Friday 8:30 because I don't anticipate there being a freaking power outage. So tune in next Friday. If you haven't seen the Nate Dogg 916 live, go check that out. I mean, the interview that me and Nate Dogg 916 had. If you're not subscribed to Nate Dogg's channel, go ahead and give him a subscribe. Subscribe to his channel, man. That's a good dude. That's my brother right there, man. My brother from across the state. Yeah, good dude right there. Good friend of mine. Love doing the show with him. Can't wait to get back on there with him again. So, for all my fellow tinfoil hat brigade here at Prison Break Raw, you guys have an awesome Tuesday night. Much love, much blessings. Try to stay safe. Try to stay COVID-19 free, or try to stay sucker free, or try to stay propaganda free. Until next time, much love. Peace out.